as soon as you left, Hamas executed 7 people, and then they went on to execute 30 more.
Yeah.
Do you believe they really will disarm?
Well, they promised they would. They said they would. It's down that they would. Now, they said they were gang members, et cetera, you know. But these are very violent people. This is a very violent part of the world. Nobody's seen violence like this. If we have to, we'll disarm
The
them.
U.S.?
Well, whether it's me or the U.S. or it's, you know, a proxy, could be Israel, with our backing. We won't have boots on the ground. There's no reason to.
Is there a timeline to get Hamas to disarm, in your mind?
Not a timeline, not a hard line, but we're going to see how it all works out. They've lived there for a long time. They're very violent. As you understand, you've been covering it for a long time, but we're going to find out. So it's not a hard timeline, but it's a line in my own mind. And at a certain point, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we'll have to do it for them.
Do you expect an expansion of the Abraham Accords?
I do, almost soon. I don't want to use the word immediate, but soon. I hope to see Saudi Arabia go in, and I hope to see others go in. I think when Saudi Arabia goes in, everybody goes in, highly respected. And the Crown Prince, who's also the Prime Minister, and the King in waiting, his father's such a wonderful man. He's still healthy, and he's still very sharp. But yeah, I think that they're going to all go in very soon.
We suggested in some meetings with the Americans that we were prepared for a long-term truce that would be agreed upon, but we did not delve into this topic for one reason. The American, Arab, Islamic, and everyone else's focus was on stopping the war first, and then we could talk about periods of truce or ceasefire.
How long a ceasefire does Hamas want?
At least Hamas is prepared for a truce of 3 to 5 years.
You know, some might say that would give Hamas enough time to rearm and to reorganize and to begin to be ready to fight Israel again. Is that a goal?
The goal isn't to prepare for a future war. The goal is that we want a truce during which we can rebuild the Gaza Strip. Because the Gaza Strip needs at least 5 years to rebuild. I mean, I don't want to say more or less than that, but this is the average. We want the Palestinian people to catch their breath, and certainly during this period there is a willingness to discuss the future. The truce periods that always occur between the warring parties are given to 2 parties, not just one party.
But what is a guarantee that you will not rebuild underground tunnels to rearm and produce missiles? In English, from here and in 5 or 10 years, we have a new October 7th.
The priority for us, in this period, that we are proposing, is to rebuild the Gaza Strip, and returning the Gaza Strip to normal civilian life. This is our priority. However, if there are parties that want guarantees for the future after these periods of time, this requires that these countries provide horizons and hope for the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people want an independent Palestinian state. If the independent Palestinian state is not established, the Palestinian issue will remain.
So yes or no? Will Hamas give up its weapons?
I cannot answer with a yes or no. Frankly, it depends on the nature of the project. The disarmament project you are talking about, what does it mean? To whom will the weapons be handed over? Why are the weapons being handed over? Well, there is a question. Will the Israelis hand over the nuclear weapons inside the Zionist entity? Why is Iran being asked to hand over the nuclear weapon, or the destruction of the nuclear weapon, and Israel, the Zionist entity, is not being asked to destroy the nuclear weapons it possesses?
But the second phase of the withdrawal is tied to Hamas's disarmament. The question is, how will this be handled? Is this even possible? The whole agreement failed because if Hamas does not abide by the terms of U.S. President Donald Trump's disarmament agreement it agreed to, there will be no Israeli withdrawal in the second phase.
This is left to the negotiating table. In other words, let's go to the second phase and the negotiating table and review the required points. Then we will clearly define our position.
But the disarmament and the handover of weapons are part of the second phase. These issues concern Hamas.
Yes, they concern Hamas and the Palestinian factions as well. There are also active Palestinian factions alongside Hamas that are present on the ground and have weapons, and therefore this is a national issue. It's not just a matter of Hamas.
You agreed to the term proposed by Trump, including the surrender of weapons.
We did not give our approval to the terms in the second phase. We agreed, and in a clear message that we sent, a message in response to Trump, we agreed to a ceasefire and we agreed to the release of all prisoners held by the resistance, whether alive or dead, and of course, an agreement was also reached on the entry of aid into the Gaza Strip, in addition to the formation of a committee or body of technocrats to manage Gaza during the transitional period. This, incidentally, was included in our written response, which US President Trump posted on his personal account online. As for the other matters, we clearly indicated that, for other issues, these require a Palestinian national position.
Are you prepared to give up power in Gaza? Can you give me a timeline for when you might give it up? Because what we see on the ground now is that Hamas is redeploying and arresting people and the police are deployed. Is there a timeline? Because the ground, what we are seeing, is contrary to what you are saying, that you will hand over power.
First, there is an understanding of the presence of Hamas on the ground, who will protect the trucks from thieves and armed gangs, who will protect people's lives. There are gangs present. What is strange is that at a time when we find Arab and Islamic voices objecting to the course Hamas took after the withdrawal of the occupation forces, we find that US President Trump yesterday expressed understanding for Hamas confrontation with the armed gangs, which are gangs of evil, and that is how US President Trump described them. So this is a transitional phase. Civilly, there will be a technocratic administration, as I said. On the ground, Hamas will be present. After the transitional phase, our opinion is that it is necessary to go to general elections.
But now you're facing a problem. The bodies, not handing over the Israeli bodies. What difficulties are you facing? Could this sabotage the agreement? Because in the first stage, the release of bodies was part of the agreement. Today we are in the third day, and only a few bodies have been released.
There is a technical and logistical problem regarding the bodies. If Hamas has released the living, why does it want to keep the dead? Hamas has no interest in keeping the bodies. There is a logistical problem, and everyone is working to solve it.
How?
There is a suggestion that some technically advanced countries could participate in the search.
If the Palestinian Authority took power in Gaza, do you have any objections? And are you ready? I repeat my question about handing over weapons to the legitimate government of the Palestinian Authority.
First, we demand general elections. If the Palestinian Authority wants to rule the Gaza Strip, let it come through the ballot boxes.